G'day. This is Cece from Generation Wellness Global, and I wanted to talk a little bit today about when we feel a symptom, when we feel something physical, how do we know that that's truly a physical issue or whether it's an emotional or spiritual issue? And my short answer is 99.99% of the time there's always an emotional or spiritual issue. I don't think people understand how truly interwoven the chemistry of our emotions in our body, and not to mention we are a spiritual being having a physical experience. There's a spiritual component of us, and when we experience something physically, we seem to separate, oh, that's just a physical. How could it just be a physical issue when it's all interwoven? So I'll give you an example because I have so many examples, but I have a tendency to get a really tight neck, and it was playing up a little bit yesterday, and I went to help my friend do some gardening, and I was like, I am so going to suffer for this later. But I really wanted to help, and so we did some gardening, and the second I left, my neck started really flaring up. And I've been using essential oils, and it helps for a little while, but then, you know, as they are metabolized, the effects wear off and it starts to come back. Now I can keep going with the essential oils and they'll eventually settle down, but because of the line of work I do, I also looked into, okay, there's more than physical. Is this more than physical? I mean, I've just done some gardening. It could just be that my neck and shoulders are a bit tight. Is it truly just that, or is it something else? And I believe it's almost always something else. So for me, there was some issues from marriage, some issues from childhood, and as I sat with those issues and prayed about those issues, and really it would just, the emotions and the stress in my body, when I prayed and asked what that was and why it was there, and I opened myself up. Because the thing is, if we think we know or we're not asking, then we're not going to get answers, right? So you have to be able to be in a place of not knowing and curiosity and actually ask those questions. And so I got some words come into my mind of emotions that were going on. And so then I asked, okay, when did that happen? And I went back to childhood. And so as I'm praying and asking to be healed of those things, and working with my 5-year-old self and giving her the truth and what she needed at that time rather than what she felt or what she received at that time, my neck just stopped hurting. It just stopped. So I don't know how else to explain this, but this is, you know, this is my experience. And I've had children with gastro, and the second we address the spiritual issue, they're fine. I've had people with chronic pain, and as soon as we address the childhood trauma, they're fine. So it's not like people ask, you know, oh, what sort of things are you looking at? Like, is it, some people think that, you know, like it has to be a big experience to be traumatic. No. Every little instance in our childhood is teaching us and programming us for adulthood, for preparation for life. And so everything that happens is kind of another piece, and it doesn't always get put in correctly. We don't always get the best most logical, you know, like for example, and it's such a simple example, but when my daughter started school and she has perfectionistic tendencies, she tries really hard, she wants to be seen to be good, so many issues we've already worked through, and but she was told she's holding the pencil the wrong way. And in the first week, really bad idea. So how she interpreted that was, I can't get anything right. Look at me, you know, like I'm, you know, I can't. So there was a lot deeper messaging that was already there on some level, because that's some of my stuff. We all inherit beautiful things from our parents and grandparents. And so based on that fact that she wasn't a clean slate, that message landed on something she already had internalized and created another layer, another confirmation. Oh, look at you, you can't even do this right. So that's just, you know, and something simple like that can then become so much bigger, because what happens is we are then using that programming to make decisions throughout our lives, and we make bad decisions based on bad programming. So this is just an example of, you know, it doesn't have to be a major trauma. It doesn't have to be a major event for us to create negative programming, negative beliefs about ourselves, about our place in the world, about what we deserve, what we're worth. We can create this from a whole host of really insignificant small events that we just misunderstand, misinterpret. And then on top of that, like, our parents aren't perfect. They are going to have bad parenting moments, and we can take those really personally and not see it for the truth that, you know, they're not perfect either, but we see that we think our parents are perfect, and so we think it's our fault. We're the problem, we're the mistake, so, and you've got generations of this stuff, guys, generations to clear. So, you know, that's just an example of how it can be such small things, but they really do dictate our behavior and our decision-making processes. This is what underlines how we function in the world and how we perceive things and how we process information. So it can have a really big result, and we can have really bad things informing our decisions, faulty beliefs for informing our decision-making processes and our behavior and our perceptions and reactions. So in a nutshell, what can be addressed? Just about everything will have some component of that emotional or spiritual or other, you know, it's not, physical is not just physical. It doesn't exist in isolation. It all interrelates. It's all interwoven, and we need to stop trying to isolate a symptom or a thing and just go, oh, I'm having thyroid issues, so I must have a faulty thyroid because my thyroid doesn't get influenced or affected by anything else in my body, in my psyche. Like, it's just, your thyroid doesn't operate in isolation. It is just a bad idea to try and isolate, oh, I've got this result on a blood test, so that means this. You can't, well, I don't believe you can just do that. It is just not that simple. We are very complex, emotional, spiritual, and physical beings. And all, even when you look physically, it all interacts. It all, everything relates to everything else, and everything can impact on everything else because it's all connected, right? So that's a lot of information. But I guess I just wanted to make the point that it is really hard to have a conversation about what I do and what can be achieved, because we don't know. We don't know until we look. what is the ancestral component? What is the emotional component? What is the spiritual component? Sometimes you just go, oh, there's only one root cause to this issue, and it's been plaguing me for 40 years. I had one person, 40-year issue, and came for one session and went, thanks, that's awesome. And then, but is that all the work that there is to do? No, of course not, because we still have other things driving our behaviors, other limiting beliefs, other, there's always more that can be addressed. It really depends what you're ready for. But it's great. It's amazing. It's such a journey to be able to do this healing on every level. Really look at ourselves as a emotional, spiritual, physical being, and nourish and nurture and heal ourselves on every level. It's so powerful. I really invite you to think about how you might start doing more to be the best that you can be on every one of those levels. So I hope this provides some food for thought. I hope this gives you a bit more of an understanding of what can be addressed if we look deeper and heal at the root cause. Because honestly, I've addressed just about every type of physical issue just by dealing with the emotional and spiritual stuff underneath. So keep an open mind, keep seeking truth, and if you have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. Have an awesome day, guys. I'm about to do a class, so I better go and do that. Take care, guys. All right, bye.